Hi boys and girls, I wonder what your favourite breakfast is. I love having maple syrup on my pancakes. I wonder if any of you like pancakes with maple syrup. Or maybe you like Frosties or cornflakes. Maybe you like some eggs with some bacon and some sausages. Maybe a big bowl of Weetabix, or maybe something healthy like bananas and apples or other kind of fruit. Maybe some of you like to have a boiled egg, or maybe at this time of year a nice cream egg for breakfast at Easter time. I wonder what your favourite breakfast is. During the lockdown, every Sunday morning I've got up really early with my wee boy Jamie, who's 4 years old, and we've made porridge together, and then we've poured on top of our porridge some lovely golden syrup, and then we've gone for a nice long walk in the woods. So we've got like the three bears, except we always make sure we have our porridge before we go for our walk in the woods. Today I want to tell you about a man called Simon Peter and about the best breakfast that he ever tasted in his life, and then about the walk that he went on after he'd had his breakfast. I'm sure some of you will have heard of Simon Peter. He was a fisherman. He lived by the Sea of Galilee. He lived during the time when the Romans ruled the world. And most famously of all, Simon Peter was one of Jesus' friends and disciples. Simon Peter spent 3 whole years following Jesus, and he knew him really, really well. He heard him teach large crowds of people, and he watched him do amazing miracles. One day he turned water into wine. Another time he fed a crowd of 5,000 people with just one wee boy's packed lunch. Another day he calmed a storm on the Sea of Galilee, where Simon Peter used to work as a fisherman. And Jesus also healed lots and lots of people of all kinds of sicknesses and diseases. He healed people who were blind and people that couldn't walk, and people who had leprosy and all kinds of other problems. Before long, Simon Peter became convinced that Jesus wasn't just an ordinary man, but was the Son of God. And when he finally had the courage to say out loud what he was thinking in his head, and he told Jesus that he believed that he was the Son of God, Jesus began to tell his friends and followers something very strange. Jesus said, "I must go up to the city of Jerusalem. I must suffer and die, but then on the 3rd day I will rise again." Well, Peter didn't like the sound of that at all. In fact, he took Jesus aside and began to tell him off. He said, "Jesus, this can't be right. There's no way that I'm going to let bad things like that happen to you. And if anyone ever comes and tries to arrest you or kill you, I'll be there to make sure they can't." But you know, when the time came and some men arrested Jesus and took him away, Peter couldn't do anything about it. He tried to fight, but Jesus told him to put his sword away. And then, one by one, all the disciples ran away, including Simon Peter. They went away and hid, and Simon Peter kind of followed at a distance to see where Jesus had been taken. He followed Jesus into a courtyard where the men were deciding what they were going to do with him. And when he was there, some people came up to him and started asking him questions. They asked him, "Are you not one of Jesus' disciples? Don't you come from Galilee? Are you not one of his friends?" And 3 times Simon Peter said no. He pretended he didn't know Jesus at all. And after a while, Simon Peter heard a strange noise. It was the sound of a cockerel crowing. And that reminded him of something Jesus had said. Jesus said to him, "Simon Peter, before the cockerel crows, you'll pretend 3 times that you don't even know me." I wonder if you can imagine how Simon Peter felt when he heard the cockerel crowing. I think he felt really, really guilty, really bad that he'd let his friend down. And he longed to say sorry, but there wasn't time, because very soon after that, Jesus was led off to be crucified. But I'm sure you know the amazing thing that happened on the 3rd day, on Easter Sunday morning. Some of the women disciples went to the tomb where Jesus' body had been laid, and when they got there they found the stone rolled away, and there was an angel there who told them that Jesus wasn't dead anymore, but he had come alive again. The women went and told the disciples, and Simon Peter went and looked for himself, and he found that the tomb was empty, and he believed that Jesus really had risen from the dead. But I told you I wanted to tell you about the best breakfast that Simon Peter ever had. Let me tell you how it happened. Simon Peter and some of his friends, some of the other disciples, went back to the Sea of Galilee and they went fishing. They spent the whole night fishing in the Sea of Galilee. And do you know how many fish they caught? Not a single fish. All night they fished and they caught not a thing. In the morning, can you imagine how they were feeling? I guess they were probably feeling quite tired and hungry and probably a bit grumpy. And then they heard a stranger on the shore and he shouted at them and he said, "Have you caught any fish?" I reckon that probably just made them feel a bit grumpier. And then he said, "Why don't you try casting your nets on the other side of the boat?" And so they did. They put their nets down one last time for another catch. And this time, suddenly, their nets were full to bursting with fish. Hundreds of fish. They'd never seen so many. And as soon as Simon Peter saw all the fish in his net, he knew exactly who it was who was on the beach shouting to them. And he jumped out of the boat and he swam as fast as he could until he got to the beach. And when he got there, he found Jesus alive again. Jesus, his friend. And he had a fire already going. And he said to Simon Peter, "Can you go and get me some of the fish?" And so Simon Peter ran and he got some of the fish. I don't think they looked quite like these ones. They were freshly caught fish that very morning. Brought them to Jesus and he put them on the fire. And that morning, Simon Peter and the other disciples had the best breakfast they'd ever had. Barbecued fish with lovely warm bread. But you know, the best thing about that breakfast wasn't just the food. It was the company of the chef who cooked it for them. When Simon Peter had heard the cockerel crowing, he thought he would never see his friend again, and he felt so guilty. But on the beach by the Sea of Galilee, there was Jesus, alive again, cooking breakfast for him and smiling as he served him his lovely fish and warm bread. And you know, after they'd had breakfast, Jesus took Simon Peter for a walk. They went along the beach by themselves. And Jesus gave Simon Peter the chance to say sorry. Sorry for letting Jesus down. And Jesus forgave him. And not only did Jesus forgive him, but he said to him, "Simon Peter, I still want you to be my disciple. And I've got a really important job for you to do. I want you to go and tell people everywhere the good news of Easter." What is the good news of Easter that Simon Peter told? It is that everyone who believes in Jesus and follows him can know the forgiveness of all the wrong things that they do in their lives. And they can know Jesus' company all through their lives as their friend. And they can know the promise that one day they will be in the Father's house in heaven, Jesus' Father's house, where I reckon the breakfasts will always be delicious. I wonder if we can pray together now. I hope that you've enjoyed the story, and I hope that you'll enjoy this wonderful Easter time, and I hope that you'll have a brilliant holiday from school. And let's just take a moment to pray before you get ready to break up for the holidays. And if you want to, feel free to say Amen at the end of our prayer. Loving God, we thank you for this wonderful time of year. We thank you for all the signs of new life all around us, in our gardens and in the woods and in the fields. And we thank you for these signs of new life that give us hope at this difficult time. We thank you too for Easter, when we can remember Jesus dying and rising again, and for the joy that brings to all who believe in him. We thank you for our school here in Cambusbarron and for all that we've achieved together this term, even in these strange times. Please watch over us and keep us safe and well, and help us to enjoy our holidays and to come back refreshed and ready for all the fun of summer term. Amen. So I hope you all have a wonderfully happy Easter and a great holiday, and I hope to see you all again before too long.